All right, next video. I think this is by, yeah, Lazy Peon. So, just gonna react. Will I be playing WoW Dragonflight? Uh, I would have to guess yes for content at the very least. Maybe interest just to see how it's going. Especially since there's not really anything releasing. Like if Ash's Creation is releasing around the same time, that'd probably be a no. To be fair, but I think because there's nothing really else competing with it, like there's nothing wrong with giving it a try. You know what I mean? You're not losing out on anything other than a bit of money. So
Recently, I've found myself not really knowing what to play when it comes to MMOs.
I think a lot of people are falling into that. Like I tried playing New World again, especially after that expansion, but I got bored pretty quickly.
Throughout the year, I've been playing a lot of New Worlds with the speculation that the game would
That was really cool. I really wish they make him into a world boss.
eventually become good, which is exactly what started
It's, oh, I'm sorry.
to happen. Unfortunately, it turns out I probably would have been better off quitting the game along with everyone else, as with the recent release of Fresh Start servers,
Oh yeah, I didn't do that. Um, just because the I leveled all my weapons and stuff. It's like, man, I really, really, really do not want to do all that again. I mean, I guess I could have, but it just felt weird. I don't know. I kind of. I mean, maybe I really should have just to get the experience of doing that new server thing, but whatever.
all non-Fresh Start servers are basically dying. Old characters will never be allowed to transfer to fresh servers either.
That makes sense. I don't know about never. Like they should have a cap on it, like 6 months or something, like 3 months, whatever it may be. Um, just because after that point, it doesn't really matter.
So I don't really know what to do with that game. I've got this character with maxed out expertise and near maxed professions,
Yep, that's what I was talking about just now. Like, I don't want to do everything again. Expertise, I don't have maxed out, but I don't really care if I'm going to be honest with you. Um, like, I didn't even play the new dungeons, if there are any. I'm pretty sure there are, but I don't know. I just kind of got bored.
that's stuck on a dying server.
I think it's because I was trying to level Blunderbuss and the Greatsword. Greatsword was fun. That was really fun. But man, I hate the Blunderbuss. That thing is garbage for leveling.
And I feel like I've invested too much time into it to start again. How about other MMOs? Well, Lost Ark was a game that I was rather addicted to at the start of the year.
I think a lot of people were. Like for me, I quit once I realized like it's all about RNG upgrading your gear. Not when I realized, but like when you experience it, it's like man, I just you play for an hour or whatever, you get your materials, you do the upgrade, and it fails. It's like okay, well I just wasted that hour.
However, I quickly got bored of the daily and weekly grinds and
Yep.
realised that the most time efficient way to play Lost Ark is to not play the game, wait for the Western version to be caught up with the Korean version, then pay to win once honing materials are cheap and the crystal to gold exchange rate is
I was gonna more say because they'll add more things, like especially events and stuff. Like if you wait for events with a lot of these types of games, that's how you can catch up. Like don't play normally, wait for an event of some kind. So a lot of the events are just like, yeah, like more dailies are available for you to get a bunch more stuff. So
high. Guild Wars 2, it's a great MMO that I love to play on and off for PvP and Fashion Wars, but sometimes I want vertical progression which the game lacks.
that's definitely true. I really wish Guild Wars did a bit more verticality. Um, maybe from expansion to expansion. Like I can understand like max level, like that's kind of it. Like dungeon rating gear maybe be about the same, but I don't know. Like I also don't really like the way the skills work in Guild Wars. It just doesn't feel as good to me. Like look at that. Like you see things on the ground, like that's bad stuff, but it's not cool looking. It's just circles of colors. So
How about Albion Online and RuneScape? I really like both of these MMOs.
I tried playing these. Um, I don't know. I couldn't make it past that. Like I think within the day, I was just like, man, the time investment for this is going to be insane. Do I really want to do that? And I didn't, I'll be honest, because there's other games I can play, so.
MMOs, but the fact that you can just buy gold in-game makes half of the game's systems feel irrelevant. How am I going to care about making 1 mil an hour from gathering and crafting if I can just buy 10 mil for $10?
Um, I think that's a poor excuse, because it's like you can do that with almost any game. Literally any game, even if it's not in the like the game itself. Buying gold, you can there's sites out there. It's not even hard. You just put the game and then you put the currency. WoW gold, you know, Final Fantasy, maybe Gil, whatever it is. But like it's a joke. Like you anyone who's relatively familiar with the internet can find sites to buy gold or whatever the currency is. So you saying, "Oh, how am I going to feel invested?" It's like, then how do you feel invested in any MMO? Like, period.
When games put a direct monetary value on gold in-game, they make me feel like I'm working for the equivalent of $1 per hour by actually playing the game.
Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay, so it's putting a price on your time. That's fair. I think that is pretty true. Um, because WoW does that as well. A few games do that. Like where, say, Warcraft, I think it's like 20,000 you make for $20 in the retail. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's different server by server. But I remember when I made like 1,000 gold, like after grinding a bit. Took me like an hour, which 1,000 gold for an hour I thought was okay. It's not like I was like really trying. I was just like doing stuff normally. And then you see that token get 20,000 for $20, and it's like, well, shit. I just I just made $1 in an hour. Like, it it takes you out of it, especially if you know if you have a job and you make money. So it's like, as a kid, maybe like before you get a job, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not mentally in your head. Like, okay, well, I made $1 an hour. That's kind of cool. But when you're an adult, it's like, well, I could have just worked overtime. It got myself, 100,000 gold for what I just made 1,000 gold. Like, depending on your job, of course. But yeah, I definitely see what he means. I didn't even think about that. That's actually great insight.
And earning gold legitimately. The only way I could not have that feeling with RuneScape would be if I made an Iron Man, which I might do at some point. What about Final Fantasy XIV? I actually feel like I would probably enjoy this game a lot if I got to endgame so I could raid and have fun with the glamour system.
Whoa, you didn't even get to the end? Like, that always like surprises me with some of these, like Asmon too. Like, how do you play in an MMO? Kind of get started, at least get pretty into it, like hitting halfway there, and just stop playing. Like, I can't really do that. I mean, maybe take a little break, but like these people take months, like breaks. I don't know.
But I've realised that I just don't care about story in MMOs at all.
You don't have to care about Final Fantasy story, dude. Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of a dumb excuse. Don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy focuses on the story a lot, but you don't have to do it. Like, you can skip most of it, from what I understand. Heck, you can pay to skip it if you really, really hate it. But at the same time, like, is that if you're an MMO player, you're used to like being forced through a story and skipping it, like just doing whatever you can to skip it. Just hitting enter, 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 going through the dialogue, like whatever. Obviously, there are some unskippable parts, but most of the time it's a cutscene, so it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Because cutscenes are fine. Like, I don't mind unskippable cutscenes if it's like the first time you're through it. Any more than that's a bit much. But after, like, you're just watching a movie. Like, I don't know. It's maybe because I really don't like when people assume like, oh, Final Fantasy, like you're gonna have to love the story to like the game. It's not true. Like, I think the story's okay, which I know like maybe I'll get crucified for that, but it's like I was never blown away by Final Fantasy's story. Like, I really like the cutscenes. I like the big fights, um, and that's about it. Like, I read novels and stuff, so it's like if I want a good story, there's way better ones. not way better, I shouldn't say it like that, but it's like I don't need to play games to get a good story. Like if I want a good story, there's plenty of books I can read. So I don't know. I think that's like a like you don't really know why then you don't like the game. You're just assuming it's for the story because you think I'm not a person who cares about the story, therefore this is why I don't like this game.
As much as I've tried to play the game in my spare time and read everything, I
Yeah, dude, why are you reading everything? You don't need to do that.
personally don't play MMOs to read a lot of text, so I'll sub to Final Fantasy XIV, play it how everyone tells me I should play it, get bored.
Oh my god, dude, why would you do that? Well, who plays? You're not gonna have. Oh my god, these cats, man. 1 second, Jesus. I literally turn around and they're all quiet again. Like, what the heck? Alright. What was I saying? Oh, playing an MMO, just play it your way. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, okay, yeah, the story of Final Fantasy is good. Doesn't matter. Because that is not the only thing in the game. It'd be different if this was a text-based game where literally you couldn't do anything but text. Like, you have to read the text, you have to respond to the text. But it's not. There's PvP, there's dungeon grinding. I love dungeon grinding in Final Fantasy because of the trust system. I don't have to get people. I don't have to like pray, please let this tank know how to taunt and put on his things. I don't have to pray like, okay, is the tank gonna pull too much for the healer to handle and the healer's not gonna say anything and just leave? Like there's none of that. You just play how you want to play it. You pull how many you think your AI companions can pull like handle, and if you mess up, well, it was on you. You know, can't blame anyone but yourself. So it's like I honestly have barely done any of the side quests in Final Fantasy. Some of the more important ones, like the blue ones, I think I've done a few. Just because a lot of times it will take you to like a new area. But that's about it. Like I don't know. I think anyone who thinks they have to play a game in a certain way, they're not going to have fun in that game. Even if it's something they normally would have fun with, you're being told what to do, which no one likes. So
After 30 minutes and unsub. I think at some point I'm just going to boost to endgame and enjoy it on my own terms.
Um, I know I just said that. I don't think you should boost only because like boosting in most MMOs is not a good idea. And I'm not talking about the story. I'm just talking about your connection to the character, which is kind of important in an MMO, I would say, in any RPG. Um, I think just playing through it your way, skipping whatever. Like, and if you need to level, don't do side quests. Just do a dungeon. Um, oh, especially if you unlock the You know what really upset me with Final Fantasy? When I found out that the squadrons, they discontinued that. When I was first leveling and I found the squadron system, dude, I fell in love with that thing. I had so much fun with that. I leveled all my people that way. After that, and then they replaced it with the trust system, which I kind of understand, but at the same time, I really wish instead of that, they would have just kept the squadrons and then had it where you can add those characters from the trust system into your squad normally, like how you do. But like, I really like the fact that you can make your own squad, man. Like that was so cool. Guild Wars also, like I really like their mercenary system. Like man, where you get to use your own characters as mercenaries. So freaking cool. I hate that you had to pay a little bit more if you wanted like a full squad. But it's whatever. But man, like there's so many. I don't know. Like maybe I'm just older. I just don't like playing with people too much now. I think it's more my patience. Like I don't, which is weird because I have a lot of patience normally. But like in the video games, I'm just like, okay, I don't want to wait for a group and I don't want to heal or tank. So yeah, I think that goes back to that whole like the Holy Trinity to me just isn't that good anymore.
I love MMOs that I can level up in whilst watching streams on my other monitor, with
You can definitely do that with Final Fantasy, 100%.
story being such a massive part of Final Fantasy.
It's not massive. It's it's glaring. I would say it's not huge, but it is like bright, so it's hard to look away. But it's definitely not like the biggest part of the game. At least from my experience, like I rushed through the story a lot for at least like a lot of the text parts. I watched all the cutscenes, but like I do that with most games. So
He's leveling. I can't really do this, so it's not for me personally, although I know many people love the story and leveling in this game.
Yeah, dude, you really gotta stop focusing on the story. Skip what you want to skip. If it's a cutscene, guess what? You don't even have to look at that. Look at your other screen on Netflix.
Elder Scrolls Online. There's a lot I like about ESO, but I don't vibe with the combat or
I was gonna say the combat feels really floaty in ESO, at least to me. Like I could never, like I played it to max level, did a few dungeons, and I was always waiting to feel powerful. It never really came, so that I just couldn't play anymore.
character aesthetics for it to be a main MMO for me. The way I've played
PvP was really fun. I really, really liked the PvP in ESO. Um, I just think that there's some builds that are just way better than others to the point that it's you have no chance if you want to if you particularly like how a build feels. Like some builds will just delete you.
ESO in the past was somewhat similar to Guild Wars 2, map completion, PvP, and collecting cool gear. In the end, I prefer
Map completion, I think they did really well in ESO. Like compared to the other MMOs on the market. Like it's one of the few MMOs where I really wanted to explore everything.
Guild Wars 2 for all of these things. Black Desert Online and Arcade. Yeah, let's not get into those. World of Warcraft.
Black Desert. You know what? I never got into that. Like I literally played less than an hour before quitting. Because they come out of the gate with that RNG crap. So it's like I forget what class I even played. It was like a samurai type class. The combat is actually really good, of course. Everyone knows that. But it's literally the only thing the game has going for it. Um, Maybe I'll get into it again after if I get bored Dragonflight and Ashes isn't out yet. So it's like I don't know because I feel like it's an okay game to just grind and not care about stuff. Um, as long as you're not too focused on getting gear, like, but that's hard. So who knows if it's even worth it.
I haven't played through a full WoW expansion since Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor.
And yeah, it's really sorry about that meowing. Seriously, it's annoying to me too.
Each expansion since then, I've played less and less. I played through about 50% of Legion. I subbed to be
Really, I thought Legion was actually really fun. Like almost throughout the whole thing. Like I started a little later, just because I didn't trust it. Like I was just like, man, this is gonna be another crapshoot. But then like a month or two in, my friends who were still playing it just told me about it. And I was just like, all right, I'll give it another shot. Had a blast. Like I played it till I ran out of stuff to do. I think I didn't really raid though. I'll be honest. Raided a little, but I'm just not really into raiding anymore.
BFA for about one patch, and Shadowlands I really didn't like the theme, so I quit shortly after getting to max level.
The theme? I thought the theme was okay. Like you're in the afterlife. There's different, basically levels of hell in a way. I thought the theme was okay, but I guess that's a personal taste. My problem was that the way they treated lore characters was like one of the bigger gripes. Because this was like a heavy, heavy lore expansion, I believe. At least that's kind of what it felt like. And I don't know. It's not. I don't really care too much about lore, but at the same time, it's they did it to characters that obviously you have some kind of attachment if you've been playing WoW for quite a while. So it's like if they were new characters that they did the things they did. So it's like I wouldn't bother me because I don't give a shit about the new characters. Because I don't really have history with them. So it's like, yeah, who cares? Like this guy, who is he? Some robot dude? I don't know. Could be an NPC, and like the little owls. Like I wouldn't even care. I think they're little like what are they treated like slaves? Yeah, I doesn't bother me. But if they did that to like freaking gnomes or something like that, okay, it's gonna be bothering me a little, just because I'm more like I'm more attached to the gnome as a whole, just because I've been playing the game. But I think with Shadowlands, it was like disappointment after disappointment. I think is what got me. Like Torghast, like I was expecting just something just fun, but they made it into a Chorgast, which everyone knows about. But at the same time, it's like I don't mind that it's a chore, exactly. But why couldn't you just focus on the fun part of it? Like, still keep the rewards, whatever, but just make it fun. That way, if you did have to do it, I mean, it's eventually it become unfun, right? So I guess that makes sense. I think the chore part, like, make it a daily that isn't 100% necessary. I guess would have been the best way to do it. Like maybe give gold or whatever. I, I also like, I think there was like a few too many systems in Shadowlands. Like, I kind of felt a bit overwhelmed. I'm just like, man, I gotta get into this, I gotta get into that. Mythic pluses and stuff. I'm just like, I'm not really looking into like the hardcore, like hard gameplay, I guess. I don't know if that's even the right word. But, like group hard gameplay. I don't mind single player stuff. Like I did the tower. Um, I forget what it's exactly called. But I did that on like almost all my characters. Like it was just so much fun.
For the past few years, the thing I hated the most about WoW was that each expansion would have some kind of system that would make playing alt classes and specs a pain in the ass.
100%. Getting a new main to the same level as your actual main took way too long. I think a lot of MMOs run into that problem because it makes like the because even though you're playing the same game, if you're playing a whole different class, like it feels like you're playing a whole new game. Like it's that's I love playing alts, but when playing an alt is a pain in the butt, like there are systems in the game that that don't really help with that progression that you've already done on something that's annoying and grindy. Like that's when it gets like stupid.
Mandatory legendaries, artifact power, Azerite, Renown, basically borrowed power that would become irrelevant in the next expansion.
That's not really a problem if they made the borrowed power account wide to a degree, or at least had systems in play. Like, for example, say renown, like have it where you get triple renown or whatever amount of like more renown, whatever the developers think is a fair amount, depending on up until your own renown level on your main character, or you start out at half of what your main character is. Um, like just systems in play that help it to where you don't have to do the same crap you sludge through on the first one. Obviously, if it's like fun stuff, people don't really mind, like doing dungeons, getting gear to go to the raids for from those dungeons. But borrow the power because they made it like pretty grindy and made it really difficult to level ults or bring up your ults to about the same level as your main.
As someone who enjoys playing multiple classes and specs, I've wanted WoW to become alt friendly for a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, there are games that do it much better than others, but WoW, man, it was rough playing ults for a while. Other than just the leveling itself.
And apparently, with the new expansion Dragonflight, this actually seems to be the case. There's a lot I've always enjoyed about WoW.
Oh yeah, like after a lot of things I heard about Dragonflight, I pre-ordered it, played it, leveled all the classes that I needed to level because I only had like maybe two that were the current max level for Shadowlands. Um, but thanks to the buffs that they give and the fact that they squashed like the leveling, like it's just so much easier to level. Like I literally leveled like every class to the max level. I almost wish Invoker you started at a lower level, but you start at max, so it's whatever.
The combat feels smooth, the PvP is fun, the raids are great, and I love the
Yeah, this event it it's one of the best events WoW has ever done in its entire history. I could be wrong, but like man, I really like this event. I wish they would do more.
transmog system. If Blizzard starts making the game more alt-friendly with more account-wide progression, then I'd probably stay subbed for a lot longer. So yes, we've gone full circle. After 7 years since I created my first ever first impressions video of
Wildstar, that was a good game.
me looking for an alternative to WoW, transitioning the YouTube channel purely from covering WoW to being a general MMO channel, we're
That white background, I don't know how people do that.
still here looking at the new expansion like the distracted boyfriend meme. So grab your Thunder Fury
True.
Blessed Blade of the Windseeker Today we're back in Azeroth, seeing what's new, preparing for Dragonflight, and choosing a class to main for the expansion. As of recording this video, it's the World of Warcraft Dragonflight pre-patch, which means it's time for me to choose a main class or main classes.
I haven't chosen my main yet, I'll be honest. I'm thinking Monk, just because I've never had it as my main, and they're actually, from what I've been playing, like actually really OP. So it's like, I think the reason it never became my main is because I had it as a panda. It turns out I hate pandas. I know, like, at least the aesthetics in the Warcraft, oh my god, they're ugly.
What the fudge is wrong with you?
So I just deleted it and made a new one with the Zandalari troll. So I'm just like, I've been having a lot of fun with that.
He hates pandas.
For this expansion. So the way I typically approach this is I whip out a Word document and I write down my requirements as well as every class in.
What the heck? Who does this? That's weird. Like, it's almost like a job interview. Like, this guy's about to pick his whole career off of this. What the heck? Like, the classes have to send in resumes, and it's like, do you meet my required education level, amount of years worked? Like, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Like, I just play the classes, and then whichever one I had the most fun with, I kind of go with. So
in the game, main requirement, ping friendly. This basically rules out every single melee class in the game.
He lives like, I forget where he lives, but it's not in the US or the UK, so his ping is like really bad.
Which means I'm going to be left with ranged DPS or healer. So realistically, I'm going to be maining a healer for PvE content such as Mythic Plus and raids.
I think that's, I don't know, I feel like that's going to make you not want to play it long term. If you're forcing yourself to do something you don't really want to do, but who knows, maybe he likes healing. From what I've seen in content, he usually picks up mage though. So not really haven't seen him really pick healers.
With a strong ranged DPS spec for
okay, that makes sense.
Open worlds.
So you're looking at probably priest, shaman maybe. That's about it, right? Am I forgetting a few? Let's see. Druid. Oh, I forgot about Druid. Oh, I hate Druids, that's why.
Solo content. Druid is probably top of the list at the moment.
Whoa. You know what? Healing with Druid actually was pretty fun. I just didn't like Feral or Balance. So, hadn't tried tanking with them. So maybe that would be good.
But a class that I really want to check out is the brand new Evoker class, which has just been added to the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, haven't played it too much just because I couldn't level with it. I'm waiting for Dragonflight, and I'll probably level my Evoker first, just to see how it plays. And depending on like that, will determine if I make it my main or Monk. I'm thinking Monk though, to be honest. I like melee classes more than I do ranged most of the time. I really like the Warlock though. Man, Warlock Demonology is so much fun now.
So let's create one and see if it's any fun. Body 1 or body 2. I guess those are like male and female options, but you can't really tell the difference.
I think he's missing the human in the background. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed with the dragon form they give you.
As a dragon, I feel like I should just be as chunky as possible.
Yeah, I did the same, but then like when you get into the game and you see actual like big dragons, you're just like, man, I look really sad next to them. So it's like I can't imagine what the skinny ones look like next to them.
Chest spikes, yes.
Look like a
there's
child,
actually
maybe.
a lot of customization options for this race. We are
surprisingly amount of customization. I was really like impressed. Like I said though, like I really wish they could make you bigger, but that's whatever.
And spiky dragon. Our ears consist of spikes. How are we supposed to hear out of a spike? If I'm gonna be a dragon, realistically, I'd rather be a naked dragon.
That's funny. His dragon actually is a little similar to mine, but he has more like green. Mine was mostly like black and red. I was going for like a almost Deathwing kind of thing.
Form. Let's just call her Flyby. Yeah, that's a really clever name. Let's go with that. As a new hero class, we start at level
That is a pretty
58.
cool
Let's
name.
check out the starting experience. Dragthir intro cutscene. Looks like I'm a statue. I'm looking forward to this. A new ranged DPS class, as well as a healer class. Like, this is like the perfect...
This is like a 2-in-1 video. While I play Dragonflight and going through the tutorial of what of the Invoker.
class for me. It's the two play styles that I love. Double press spacebar, your character like
Yeah, it's like Demon Hunter.
glides. That feels good. Feels even better than the Demon Hunter double
It does. I think it's because it pops you up a bit more. I could be wrong though.
jump. Living Flames. This is my #1 ability.
Going through this was pretty boring. You have like very, very few skills. I don't know if that changes. Like I said, I did this tutorial part of it, or this opening, and that's about all I've done on the Evoker.
#2 ability is an instant cast. Disintegrate. It's like a channeled ability, it seems. Another cutscene. It's an angry looking dragon. Living Flame, when targeting an enemy deals damage, but when targeting an ally it heals.
That's really cool, and I think that's what I wish they would do more. Change the skills up to kind of match that, so that they can really cut back on that Holy Trinity.
That's really cool. Leave the temple out.
I mean, WoW kind of took over really well because you can have the dual spec, you can switch between specs without losing anything. But I still think that being a DPS role, but still being able to heal, just so you don't have to have a healer, is the better option.
Into this big open landscape. That looks cool. Giant structure in the distance. Dragons in the sky. Quite a sight to behold, really.
This place was pretty boring. Like, I don't know, this part of the opening was not my favorite.
I'm really excited to explore the environment of the Dragon Isles. Everything about this
Other than the actual flying.
expansion seems a lot less alien than the previous expansion, Shadowlands. There was something about Shadowlands that I just couldn't connect with. Just being in the Shadow Realm or something where everything was super weird. It wasn't very grounded. It felt borderline sci-fi in places. Fire breath. Let's try it out.
I mean, to be fair, almost any theme that has the gnomes involved feels the same. Like steampunk.
Yo, that's cool. That's like an action combat ability. This reminds me of Spyro the Dragon.
This, I think they really did a good job. Kudos to them for getting the main idea from Guild Wars. Like, that was one of the best parts about Guild Wars, was the flying. So I think this one actually does a little bit better than Guild Wars. Like, it's been a while since I played Guild Wars, so I could be like not remembering things right, but I felt like this was a little bit better.
We go in again. So we go up here and we go down here.
I'm just like probably making most MMO communities mad, like Final Fantasy, because I said the story wasn't the best. Well, maybe among MMOs definitely, but I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. And now Guild Wars is like, oh yeah, I don't think your mount system is like the best, which it is, but like the feel of WoW's flying, I think, just feels a little bit better than Guild Wars.
Yeah. This is fun. I like this. 50% of the players this expansion are going to be Dragthir. Yes, they may have yoinked it straight out of...
I really wish they will give dragon wings to other classes. Like maybe have it like a glider kind of thing. That does basically the exact same thing. Like the feeling is the exact same, but obviously maybe it looks a little different.
Of Guild Wars 2. But that doesn't make it less cool. WoW's yoinked a lot of things from Guild Wars 2. Cute little thing on my character's back just clipping through my neck. When a rat and a dragon become friends. It's not a rat. It's a baby walrus. I need to learn to identify my animals a bit better. Healing ability. Okay, that seems good. League of Legends and Dota 2 need a button like this. Consume to reduce toxicity by a large amount. Hover. Increases my movement speed. It makes me do a bit of a swoop. It launches me. And I can use my abilities whilst moving. New ability, Deep Breath. This seems like another skill shot type ability. And
yeah, that was actually really like cool skill they added to the game. I think the other classes should get something similar if they can make it like that.
it can extend really far.
Yep. Super cool.
That's cool. Reposition, pop some big AoE.
Oh, that's always fun.
Nice, that hits hard. Is that a giant Tauren? Kurog Grim Totem. What specialization will you choose, Devastation or Preservation? I've heard really good things about Preservation, so I want to try that one.
I haven't tried Preservation. I went Devastation. I will have to try Preservation.
Raphion's trying to stop the ritual. He's trying to summon something evil. And Rathian has failed.
That made me laugh. I'm like, really? A big rock took him out?
Mate, you just got hit around the mouth with a bit of rock. You didn't have to fall to the ground that hard. That's a big...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. I was just like, it's a rock. It wasn't like something it wasn't like pure energy or anything like that.
big dragon. So she's let him go to deliver a message. And as you can see by the weather...
I thought that was pretty stupid. Like, obviously, it would suck to kill Rathian off, but I think what they should have had it done was, like, her try to kill Rathian, but then that other dragon comes in and helps him a bit, and they both barely get away or something like that. Like, it didn't make sense to me that she would just let him go, because it's like, she has some serious beef with freaking his, like, sire, or even though it's not, I don't think it's, like, his direct dad, but with Deathwing, so it's like, you would think she'd at least, like, take his legs or something like that, like, cripple him, like, beat him up. Maybe not outright kill him because she wants to see him, like, suffer, but, like, it didn't make sense that she was just like, yeah, go, just watch.
It's closely resembling England right now. Raphion's laying on the floor again. The pain. Mate, nothing really happened to you, Raphion. There's not that much pain, come on. So I guess Razageth is going to be the big bad for the start of this expansion. Big dragon army casually rocking up at the gates of Stormwind. I actually didn't want to play as Alliance, I wanted to play as Horde. Did I fuck that up during character creation? As much as I think the Evoke is a really cool class so far, I don't think I'm going to end up maining it because, one, I think I'm going to get sick of looking like a dragon all the time in combat.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Because I'm someone that kind of cares a lot about transmog and having cool armor on. Additionally, I can see these held channel abilities being a bit of a nightmare with my ping. I can already feel when I let go, there's like a massive delay for those abilities. There's also a few channeled abilities as well, so I don't know if this is going to be the ideal class for me. So it's a few days later, and so far Druid is top of the list. I've been enjoying playing Balance as the ranged DPS spec.
Really? Man, Balance was just so boring to me. I don't know.
I really love Resto, and Feral and Guardian both feel pretty cool as well. So far my list is looking like this. I'm actually just going to put Evoker on the no list. The more I played Evoker, the more I realized that this could be the most fun class ever. It doesn't matter because I'm an ugly dragon creature. Let's try Holy Paladin. Something I absolutely love that Blizzard have done with WoW recently is add this edit mode. So I've made my, like, perfect...
It's good, but I know it broke some add-ons that basically were better versions of it.
UI, lined everything up, and this is all in...
Like, I had so many issues with this when I came back and I downloaded the add-ons again. Like, a lot of them were like, I had to disable that and reload the UI to continue to play.
Games, so I no longer have to install add-ons to make a nice looking UI. I'm someone that likes to use as few add-ons as possible.
I don't really care. I mean, I'll try to use as few as possible, but at the same time, like, it doesn't bother me because it's so easy to install add-ons in WoW compared to other MMOs. Like, it's just, WoW really has that nailed down.
So the fact that there's now an edit mode in-game, absolutely fantastic. Another thing that's new with Dragonflight is the new talent tree system, which
I had a lot of fun with this. So much fun. Like, I really like this new talent tree.
I definitely prefer to the old system. Most people are just going to search up an optimal build, but once you become...
There's nothing wrong with that, because let's be fair, there are people, though, who love checking out the add-ons, trying different builds. And there should be options for both. Like, you have the people who don't really care and just want to go with the most optimal route, while other ones who just want to tinker, try things out, see what they find funner. So, I think this is the best of both worlds. The fact that you can, like in the bottom left-hand side, like if you have a build you like, you download that build, and it just auto-specs you into it.
I'm really good at your class and you understand every aspect of every ability, you can kind of use this talent tree to just change things to fit your playstyle more.
Exactly. Yep.
Testing out the Holy Paladin. I like Holy Paladin. I don't think I would main it over a Resto Druid though. I feel like with
That's definitely true. I think Resto Druid like nails it like out of the park. Um, I healed with all classes while I was leveling just to kind of get a feel for them, and Resto just felt great. Like it's just chill, um, but still impactful. So I think they did an awesome job with Resto Druid. I think Priest also was pretty good. Paladin was one of my least favorite ones. Not that it was bad, it just wasn't as good, I think.
Resto, because you're just kind of ramping up your heals and you've got constant heal over time, it's really hard to mess up. Dude, you're standing in all of the shit. What are you doing? Tank! You might actually be AFK. Mate. Big heals. Fuck. Combat res. Yeah, he's AFK, isn't he? This is a fun healer. It can handle quite a lot. The more that I'm playing and thinking,
You know what? I did heal with him a little early on. I didn't really heal with him towards the later levels, so I might have to go back and play that because I saw some abilities he was using I did not have access to, and I think going back would be a good idea. I think Rhett was pretty cool. Like it may not be the most like heavy hitter, but it was actually fun to play. So I think Paladin like probably be Monk, Warlock, and then maybe Paladin. I don't know.
thinking about other classes and races, the more I'm just certain that I want to main Druid this expansion. I'm going to main a Druid.
I think what I don't like about druids is that you can't like the gear and stuff doesn't really affect how you look. Maybe like I know you can do transmog stuff with it now, but like I still wish. I mean that's why I like the druid healer. Like you're just not a tree anymore. Like at all times, it's like a like 30 seconds I think.
Alt number 1 will be Shaman, alt number 2 will be Paladin, and then Mage or Warlock for alt number 3 or 4.
I really liked mage at first, but I got pretty bored with them towards the end after getting them to max level. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be playing them.
I'm not sure which order I'm going to do those in. Next problem.
Warlock though, Warlock is just so cool. Like each class feels very, very different. Um, I don't know if it's because it's OP, but like demonology is like so much fun. Like having an army of demons when you summon that gate and you just like start popping everything. Like it feels like you just brought a raid with you.
To overcome. Basically, all of the good players play Horde, and after trying to do Battlegrounds as Alliance, I can see why. Because this week I haven't won a single BG as Alliance.
Oh man, that's rough. That sucks.
Horde have been stomping every single game. So let's move to the most highly populated Horde dominated server. Stormscale. High Mountain Tauren unlocked. I could go Zandalari Troll if I wanted to. Like, what's cooler? We'll go High.
I think Zandalari Troll like is really cool. Like I don't know if anyone knows, but they're like racial ability with praying to one of the Loa. Like I thought that was like really interesting.
Mountain Tauren. If I don't like it, I'll race change to Troll. So after an extra day of testing, I think I'm ready for Dragonflight. The Druid is going to be my main.
You know, it's funny. If I could remake my character, I would definitely make him the High Mountain Druid. I might still. I don't know. The thing is, I don't really like. Well, we'll see.
Although, after playing High Mountain Tauren for a while, I don't like how transmogs look on Tauren, so I'm going to have to change race.
Yeah, but you're a druid. You don't really have to worry too much about transmog other than when you're in healing mode.
Second alt is the Shaman. I love every single spec of the Shaman.
Yes, and they're still changing some things with Shaman. Like they just made the lava burst like actually viable. So I started when I was leveling my Shaman. Started at Elemental. Wasn't a big fan. Went to Enhancement. It was a lot more funner. Healing was meh. Honestly, it was okay. Wasn't as interactive as the other ones. But I love the Shaman aesthetic.
Enhancement and Elemental all just feel really good, especially Enhancement. Warlock is my third favorite class. I really love Demonology. That
I knew it. Oh my god, it feels so cool now.
one feels the best. Next would be Affliction, and then I didn't really like Destruction
I agree. The Destruction was just like a bootleg mage.
so much. Fourth priority is the Paladin. I enjoyed the Holy and Protection spec. And for the mage, I didn't really enjoy any of the specs. Fire was okay, but
I felt the same. I think fire was like the only one I really enjoyed of the three. Frost, man, I don't know what they did with Frost. That used to be my favorite spec, but it's just I'm not a fan with it. And I think why fire is so good is because you get those freaking pyro procs. Even though pyro isn't as good as it used to be, it's still fun getting instant pyros.
something about Frost just feels kind of lackluster.
Yes, I think it might be the damage. Like before with Frost, like you'd have to do a bit of a building, freezing them and stuff. But man, you could get those freaking crazy burst outs. You just had like low damage in between of those bursts. Like I wish they didn't change that. I guess it maybe makes sense, but man,
I think it's the audio-visual feedback from abilities. I didn't really like Arcane either. Fire was the only one I kind of liked. So yeah, my original WoW class, the Mage, demoted to priority number 5. A quick look at my choosing a class document. Requirements were ping-friendly range DPS with a healer option. We went with the Druid, Shaman alt number 2, Paladin, Warlock, Mage. Wrote some notes about each of the classes.
I would say ping seems to be like his biggest issue. At least that's what it seems like. Like he has this like chart here, but at the same time, you don't really need a chart. You just need to keep in mind ping friendly.
Priest is probably a class that I need to try. I've never really liked the aesthetic.
I'm surprised he didn't try priest. Priest, I've always liked priest. I like how, like the shadow talent kind of or spec. I don't know. I think they're obviously I think shadow isn't as good as like affliction warlock, but at the same time it feels different enough, or at least to me. Um, it's almost like Destro and Affliction had a baby, and that's Shadow Priest.
Of Shadow Priest, but if it's fun to play, then that's a ranged DPS with 2 healer options, so I think I need to try Priest. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know in the comments below.
That was a good video. Definitely was like a 2-in-1 or maybe even 3-in-1. Because it's like, will I play Dragonflight, play through the Invoker tutorial area, and what class will I be maining in Dragonflight? So that was very interesting. A lot of things he was talking about, and I agree with a lot of it. Yeah, that's gotta suck with the ping, man.